Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Noisy Neighbours podcast. Christian, we're reacting to the news that Alexander Isak has effectively handed in a transfer request to Newcastle United. Today, it's been reported by Romano Ornstein, Tier 1s, all over this. And the strange thing with this is, it's come after Liverpool went and spent 80 million on a striker from the Bundesliga in Ekitike.
Yeah.
This must be a weird one for Liverpool fans to see this happen, because obviously 10 days ago when the Newcastle went for Ekitike, Liverpool were like, you made a great point, we're even going to take your wife or your girlfriend. They ended up with Ekitike, Liverpool, because they were like, we can't get Isak, so we'll just go and get Ekitike.
Yeah.
Me and you were like, oh, Newcastle, all right then. Like, they've got to keep, out of the two, Isak's a lot better than Ekitike. Just settle things down a little bit, go back into the market for Visa or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, we get a transfer request from Isak. What is your reaction to this, and how confused are you with the timeline of events here?
Yeah, I echo your thoughts. I heard it today come out and I was beyond shocked. I mean, look, Liverpool have made no secret all summer. I mean, I think, did they put in a bid? I'm sure they actually did, or I'm sure Romano actually posted. They certainly expressed their interest in Newcastle and made them aware they were going to buy. But let's be honest, if we know that, Isak knew that, his agents knew that. What's strange is like the timing that this is coming out. If you're Isak, you do this where if you want Liverpool, you do this when Liverpool came in, right? That's what you would think.
Yeah. Well, obviously we spoke today when this news come out, and I have read online that this is on the back of a salary contract request from Alexander Isak, no doubt via his agent, to Newcastle, where it's like the Ekitike stuff has gone to, he's gone to Liverpool. Right, I'm willing to re-up. Maybe Newcastle approached Isak and was like, his representatives, and was like, right, forget Hugo Ekitike. What are you? We want to re-up. We want to re-you up. I mean, I think he's still got 3 years left anyway, Isak. But maybe it's a commitment situation from Newcastle. And apparently Isak wants 300 grand a week. Newcastle not willing to do that. So this isn't, I think, to your point, the timeline is confusing, because it's like, well, where was this transfer request a week ago when Liverpool had 80 million cash to chuck at Ekitike? Where was this then? And I don't think Isak has gone, I'm desperate for Liverpool, I'm desperate for PSG. It sounds like Isak just wants 300k a week, and that is we don't know this for certain, but we're just trying to join the dots to your point. Why do it now when the time was a week ago? Because I bet Liverpool fans today, I'm sure they're not overly disappointed with their summer's work, but I bet they are a little bit like, because Ekitike is a risk. Look, we don't need to get into it. He's another potential 80 mil fucking nonsense. He might be crap. There's no way Liverpool fans can watch this and say Ekitike is going to be great. He might be good. He might be shit. You've spent 80 million. You're hoping you fall on one side of the penny. I've seen Rasmus Højlund fall on the other side of the penny. Benjamin Sesko will probably... Put it this way. Sesko's going to go for similar to whoever, maybe Newcastle. Sesko and Ekitike, one of them's going to be shit. Both of them might be shit. The point I'm making is Alexander Isak is not shit. So Liverpool fans are like, for fuck, we could have had the summer of all summers, really, couldn't you, Christian, with Wirtz and Isak?
This is it. I think Liverpool, never mind the fans, Alex, can you imagine the club that have just finalised a deal for Ekitike, and it's a big transfer fee? They must have heard this news and were like, what? Like, it makes I bet it makes no sense to them. And put it this way, I'm pretty sure if there was a returns policy on Ekitike, they would be sending that bugger right back. Trust me. There's no doubt about that, because they do not need Ekitike if they go and get Isak. They blow the league away anyway. And also, we know Isak isn't a risk. Yes, he's going to cost more money, but in buying Isak, it's probably the least riskiest transfer. It's like when Kane was available available, not available. Obviously, Daniel Levy refused to sell. It's eerily similar to that situation. But at least with Kane, I know he dropped his bollocks in the end a little bit after he had his 1 day sick, but at least he sort of made it obvious he did want to go to City. With this one, it does seem very odd, and then you hear the rumours that obviously Saudi, they're always lurking in the background, aren't they? And they're throwing their name in the hat. And I didn't see that, bro, about the wage thing. So it's interesting you bring that up, because with the timing not really making sense and the timeline not adding up, then you start to think, what's his intentions then? Because he knew Liverpool wanted him. He knew he was Liverpool's guy. He would have been their marquee signing somehow after even signing Verse, but he would have been, undoubtedly. He had the opportunity. If he wanted to do that and kick up a storm, the time was there, not now. So it does beg questions as to why.
I'll tell you what, for argument's sake, let's run with the idea that Isak is asked out because they are not paying him 300 grand a week in a new deal. We obviously don't know that. We're going off sort of the timeline, and obviously this news that the 300 grand a week is too high for Newcastle. That's by Ben Jacobs, who is a pretty well-respected journalist. So just let's flip onto the Newcastle perspective before we talk about where Isak might go. As a Newcastle fan, this must be very disappointing. However, where do you stand on, well, just pay it? Because I've seen a lot of dross come to Man United and get paid ridiculous amounts of money. And once you pay one bad, you pay two bad, you pay three. So Jadon Sancho becomes a 300 grand a week mistake. Then that becomes a Mason Mount 250 grand mistake. Then that becomes a Casemiro coming in from Madrid going, I want 350 grand a week because I've won 5 Champions Leagues.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Newcastle fans might be watching this, might be like, the club just needs to swallow this and pay it. Isak's amazing. I get that perspective as a fan. I also do get it from the club's perspective, where do you want a nuclear blow up the wage bill this early into your tenure as a Champions League club? Where, look, he is brilliant. I mean, this isn't my examples are those players are not very good. Sancho, Mount, Casemiro was good for 1 year, but it was a ridiculous deal at the time. Still, what do you feel Newcastle should do here, Christian? Because I do have a little bit of sympathy for him. They're trying to keep the lid on things. Everyone knows they've got mega money. Should they do it? Should they not do it? Where do you land with that?
I think, like, me and you have both been hugely complimentary about how they've been run since this takeover. I think they've made some really shrewd signings, some great business decisions, footballing decisions. And yeah, it's a tricky one. But for me, I get where you're coming from. However, the reason I don't think it would be an issue is I think there would be a certain level of acceptance from his teammates and any other players that are coming in, because he is at that level now. You know what I mean? Liverpool are legit in for this guy, and his value is probably 130 to 150 million pounds. It's a huge fee, that we're talking about. So I think, look, if he wants 300 grand a week, I would personally be on Newcastle fan side if they were saying pay it, because I do think that I don't really believe it would upset the apple cart too much in this situation. I think Newcastle players, his teammates, would be relieved. I think if he goes and signs a new deal, they're like, right, we won something last year. This guy was instrumental in that. Can we go again? Can we win more? If we get other players in around him. So, look, if they have got a chance of signing this guy up to a new contract and upping his wage, as long as it's not something ridiculous and the 300 mark is what it is, then for me it's a no-brainer. But then, well, yeah, I'll just get your point on that as well. I'm curious to know where you stand.
Yeah, I would do it. I think I'd do it just, to your point, it's a slam dunk. Whoever signs him, it's a slam dunk. If God forbid, it's Liverpool. The guy has got 21 goals 2 years ago. He got 10 in 22, 21 in 30, 23 in 34. Christian, we did a Gyökeres episode the other week. We looked at the Gyökeres, Haaland, Isak comparison, Alexander Isak's conversion rate is ridiculous. It was an episode we did 2 weeks ago. I think it was around the 31% mark, and I'm sure Haaland was about 24.
Yeah.
Which you go, 6% over the course of a season is ridiculous difference. That's clinical. I think Gyökeres was about 35%, and he's in the fucking Portuguese league. So this guy's amazing. We've seen it. We've seen the edge of the box shooting. His technique's class. Good in the air. He's got everything. And like you said, if he's worth 120 million, well, pay him 300 grand a week then. And I get that concept. The only thing, it might be just too soon in the timeline for Newcastle as a club to go and do it. Like Liverpool have gone through their rebuild and got to the Van Dijk Salah contracts now.
Yeah.
And Newcastle trying to think, we just need to plateau normally here, but then does that lose you Isak?
Well, that's it.
It's a tough one, Christian. I do agree with you. Look, we can't get in the finance stuff because we don't know PSR and all that shit. If you can pay him, you pay the guy. I agree.
Yeah, exactly. I think where do you really stand with the whole look? We've gone through that scenario, but there is the other end of things that this guy just wants out. He's he's heard the rumours. There's a random reason as to why he had a brain fart and didn't push this when Liverpool were genuinely in for him. He's lost his head, not done it, and now he has done it. Let's just say this is the case, right? And he wants that Liverpool move or a move elsewhere, dare I say it, with a possible Saudi links.
Yeah.
Do you think Newcastle as a club, they've got him on a contract anyway? They're not like backed into a corner here, and he doesn't strike me as the kind of lad that would be like, "Fuck off, I'm not playing for you." He ain't gonna do a Gyökeres. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like they do hold the keys here. Let's get that straight. They are not Liverpool's bitch by any means. Because obviously, when I said that about the whole girlfriend and wife shit, it was just a tongue-in-cheek thing. In terms of their position in this, they are actually in the driving seat. So if they want to sell, they can sell. They don't have to. But there is the complication of what version of Isak do you then are you left with? Are you left with a disgruntled player that yes is world class but can't be arsed anymore? And a bit like Leicester with Mahrez, they kept him, but they shouldn't have done because he didn't want to play for him, and then they had to sell him anyway at the price City were going to pay.
Yeah.
Where would you stand on that? Would you cash in, or would you risk it and just see what version you get?
The comment you made about Liverpool giving it the big and going, "We'll take your wife or we'll take your mistress." You were right. You weren't disrespectful there to Newcastle. The thing is, though, from Newcastle's perspective was, yes, you took our mistress, but our wife's Margot Robbie. You took Gemma Collins. That's what's happened here. Don't be getting it mixed up here that Liverpool went in and big dicked them and took Isak off their hands, because they've not. Right. So, really, if you're Newcastle, you're sat there going, right, we lost out on Ekitike. Don't care, might be shit.
Yeah.
I've got, so I think it's a tricky one because now you're transitioning into, well, what if he just wants to leave the club? I think that'd be a massive shame, if I'm being honest, because I think Newcastle is a brilliant club, and I think we all welcome them as a very good side in the league. Those away games are tough, and to lose him it's hard, really, because obviously at the time when they bought him, was it Sociedad? They were the
Real
ones
Sociedad, because he was there with David Silva at the time.
Took a bit of a gamble on him, and obviously they were in that ilk of a club where, we're spending 60 million because people know we've got it and we've got to nail it, and they did. And I feel sorry for them, really, and I hope it is money related in a way, because I think it could be achievable. I think of when Wayne Rooney threatened to go to City because he was pissed off, and United managed to offer him mega deal at the time, and he stayed. I'm hoping it could be resolved like that, because to your point, where does he go, Christian?
Well, look, I mean, me and you spoke briefly before.
It can't be
Liverpool,
of course, surely.
The obvious option is Liverpool. If we look around the league, you told me before, Chelsea have said they're not in for him.
Yeah.
So then you look elsewhere. City, Haaland, Marmoush, definitely not. We're just a no-go.
Can I just jump in on the City one? Just for a second, before you go on and talk about other clubs.
Yeah.
This is crazy, right? However, I can't believe I'm saying this because I'm a United fan. And I don't think this will happen, and certainly don't think me saying it on YouTube is going to influence Man City. But I'm obviously, you're my brother, you're a City fan.
Yeah.
With the way the wind has gone, when we're looking at City squad, you lack experience, you lack sure things, you don't have many slam dunks. Should City go and get Alexander Isak right now for 120, 30, 40, whatever it is? Do City just go and do it? And you mould the team with two strikers. This thing of one number 9, football wasn't always like that, Christian.
So
I know you're obviously younger than me. I grew up in the 90s. Fergie was 4-4-2, and then Mourinho changed it with the 4-3-3. Fergie adapted and then went on to play 4-3-3. But 4-4-2 was a great system. Like, I think it gets a lot of shit because Allardyce played it, and lesser managers. One of the best managers ever won the treble playing 4-4-2.
Exactly. Look, Alex, and if you look at it,
I just want to get your take on it. I just want to hear your reaction to City go and get Isak right now for whatever the fee is. Obviously you've got Haaland. What is your feeling towards that?
There's a couple of reasons why I think it'd be the right thing to do. I know it sounds mental to anyone listening. Yeah. One, it's a punch back. And I'd say that's one of the biggest reasons. Also, look, and I know a lot of people could look at this and go, you can't just sign a player so someone else can't get them. Yeah, but look who could potentially get them. Liverpool have gone and took the best midfielder in Germany, and they've also strengthened in other areas, fullbacks specifically. And then we're looking at the prospect of them taking one of the 2 best number 9s in the world. Can the rest of the Premier League afford them this luxury? And the answer to that is no, I don't think they can, because I genuinely think they could then come into I don't even know. I mean, how many Premier Leagues could they wrap up with that, depending on how long they can drag Salah out for? You know what I'm saying? And to be fair, Alex, just to touch on that, what you said, you're so right. This obsession with the whole that you can only play one striker. Well, you can't. We've seen it can work before. And who better, really, than an Alexander Isak? He is a great footballer. He's not your shit number 9 that will stand there and you won't get much out of him. He would be much more involved in the game than Haaland would. Look, I know this is a mental take. I know this ain't ever going to happen. I'm just saying, could it work? And Pep Guardiola, we have seen him do things that people would have gone, that'll never work. That's stupid. Why would you play a centre-back in midfield? You're never going to win a Champions League doing that. He did. So you're telling me what the 2 strikers up front is beyond the realms of belief, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, it could work. He could make it work. And I think we're due a punch back. So get the fucking checkbook out and go and get him.
Look, it's absolutely wild, because you know the general vibe in the league and across social media and at even like journalists are like, well, forget City, they've got Haaland. Mate, Sir Alex Ferguson, when he won the treble in '99, had 4 strikers that could start any game. Yes. They weren't on the elite level, although Cole and York were fantastic, by the way, and they made a great combination. You even go into the 09 team that nearly won the Champions League and obviously won a 3rd league in a row. Berbatov, Tevez, Rooney, Ronaldo. Well, 3 of them played every game. Yes, Berbatov threw a bit of a spanner in the works. City benefited that. City, you think about that Tevez and Aguero team, Christian. Was that not 4-4-2? What about Leicester City with Okazaki and Vardy? They won a league with that. This thing of, and I've got massive respect for Guardiola, you know that. But why? At the end of the day, you haven't got a locked in number 10 in the ilk of De Bruyne. Respect to Cherky, respect to Foden. You go 4-4-2 and go Rodri, Reinders. You hold it down in the middle.
Yeah.
Pray to God them 2 out wide can do something. But all of a sudden, yes, they can't cross a road. But if you're crossing to 2 monsters in the box, and also you've got 2 guys who can run the channel there, you know, I don't think it's that mental of an idea for City to go and do it. I really don't.
You've also got Foden and Cherky in the conversation as well. You know, look like they could be two elite players in terms of creating chances. We know Foden, he has seen that elite level. Last year was a bit of a drop-off. Hopefully he's back. There's many reasons, Alex, why it could genuinely work. It never will, but it's never going to transpire. However, could Guardiola make that work? Yes, he most definitely could. And I think this thing of like the one striker, Alex, what's the thing that teams actually struggle with? We saw it with Mourinho time and time again. Teams struggle because they couldn't really work Mourinho out. But then when they did, he really has struggled. And that's why he never stays anywhere too long. Because once the first season's up and the shock element's gone, then the next year is always disappointing. Do you know what I mean? More often than not. Chelsea have seen this more than anyone with that guy. So what would be a surprise element? What would be a bigger surprise than City going big dick in this, going getting Isak and putting him up front with Haaland, and everyone that's copied us from bloody Sunday League teams up, copying the Pep Guardiola method, giving them the two fingers and going copy that, have that one.
Yeah.
Be funny as fuck, man. Everyone has took this Pep session. Why don't you go and rip up the rule book and do something mental?
Okay, I'll tell you what, let's rephrase it. We're going to do predictions in a few weeks when the Premier League is about to start and the transfer window is another couple of weeks old.
Yeah.
Let's say City go and sign Isak. I'm going to be sat here trying to play City in a league position at the end of the season, Christian.
Yeah.
If you did that deal, and this is without me watching 1 minute of you playing 4-4-2, or if there was some sort of weird Isak left forward but cutting in heavily sort of position, I would struggle to play City position wise, and I'm not ruling out you winning the league at the minute with your current squad. I can't really. We won't get into the predictions, but I'm not putting you first. You know that.
Yeah,
if you did that, we'll be sat here in a couple of weeks and we'll be going, right, City, Haaland, Isak up top. Can you honestly sit there with a straight face and say they're not going to win it with them two up front? Because I couldn't. I don't know if I'd have your favourites, because God knows what it'd look like. But you said a moral punch back. You took Wirtz, we take Isak. Let's go.
Yeah. Look, I would love for this to happen, Alex. It would be probably the most mental thing we've ever seen. But look, Alex, the thing is, you made a point though before. When did it all change though with this obsession? Because it's like we had Kun Aguero, right? And at the time you had Rooney, you had other strikers as well. But when Van Persie made it clear at that time he just had the best year and he was currently the best 9, we both went for him and we knew whoever got him would win the league. And is this not a bit similar?
Yeah. I totally hear you. And just a word on what you're saying there as well. Van Persie's a fantastic example. I forgot about that. Van Persie, Rooney. Yes, Rooney could drop in. Mate, that's 4-4-2. Don't be giving me shit. It would have been 4-4-2 at City with Sergio Aguero.
Yeah.
Where is this disrespect to 4-4-2 gone, where it's like this archaic system from the fucking 50s with like Bobby Charlton and that knocking it about in black and white? No. 4-4-2 has had results, and I think it's underused. You mentioned some of the shitter teams copying Guardiola's methods. I think it's underused by teams. Look at what Leicester did.
Yeah, it is, mate. Do you know why it's underused as well? It's because teams have this obsession now with these wide forwards because everyone thinks they need to be a wide forward. There's this, and that's why we've got no number 9s available. But one currently could be. Do you know what I'm saying? These teams that are playing wide forwards like we're doing. So you're looking at Savinho and Doku in them positions. Now, just answer me this. Would you rather Savinho and Doku get 5 chances in one game each? Or would you rather Isak get 2? You'd rather Isak get 2. And that's the answer every time. And that's where you've got these players in these positions now, Alex. And they're neither a winger nor are they a striker. They get away from the accountability of their lack of statistics because they go, oh, well, they're a winger. So they can use that argument when they want it, and then they get out of trouble there. But then, if in terms of tracking back, they'll go, oh, well, he's a left forward, so it is what it is, and he's part of the front line, so he doesn't need to track. And it's like, that, mate, this is why this position, all kids, now they want to play it. It's the best position on the pitch because you have the best of both worlds and you don't have any sort of accountability. If you go and score 2, you're not the striker that scored 2. Fuck me, you're a winger that's got a brace. Jesus Christ. But really, they are strikers, but they're not even clinical anymore, bro.
Yeah, I mean, just to your point of we'll come off the City one now. Just a bit of a fun topic, and obviously be interesting to see.
Can we not? Can we stay on it? You've got me all teed up now. I think we're going to win the league if we do that.
It's wild. Even as a United fan, I don't know if this is just my devastation staring at whatever madness Liverpool, whatever hell they've put me in as a fan.
Yeah.
It's like I'm almost like intrigued to see it myself. And also, I love football going in cycles that, like, Guardiola has changed system, but it is the 4-3-3 heavy possession game has always been there. And you are sat there waiting, right, okay, Guardiola introduced this, like, in a 08, 9-ish era when it became the thing, and then Spain came and dominated those international tournaments. And we spoke, Christian, do you remember we were talking about other teams in the Prem being a bit more direct last season? Banging it through the pitch quicker, athleticism and stuff like that. And we spoke about football going in cycles where centre-backs taking less touches, Bournemouth getting the ball through the pitch, not route one, but quicker transition play.
The more advanced modern-day version of it,
And it's not fashionable because everybody wants to play 4-3-3, everybody wants one number 9. I'm just saying, I think it'd be the most, I tell you what, the excitement for that game one for you and every City fan on earth, because right now you're going, barring an injury crisis and some sort of messy development from Savinho or Doku, you're going, how are we going to win the league? Yeah. But a statement signing like that goes, okay, I've got Guardiola in my corner. You make this work. You're one of the best managers in history. You've got the 2 best goal scorers in the country. You go and win us the league. And as a fan, I think you've got relative expectation if you did go and do something like that. And also, Liverpool at the minute, they're fucking kicking back. Cigars on.
Yeah, they actually are, yeah.
We might get him. Liverpool, we might fucking get him as well. City need to act like look, I support United, and we've come out and said we can't afford it, which was pointing out the frigging obvious, obviously, which is laughable, and it's sad, really, because obviously we were once that team of, Wayne Rooney's available? Come on, mate. We'll fucking have you.
Alex, that's like the homeless man walking into the Aston Martin showroom and saying, I think it's about my price range.
Imagine that. Imagine Sir Jim's offer. Can we make it of 134 yearly payments?
Oh, mate, honestly. United's conversation, I would pay to be in that conversation because it would be bloody hilarious. But yeah.
Brilliant. We've ruled ourselves out of the running. But yeah.
Just to go back to it, Alex, though. So obviously I know we've touched on obviously City and maybe a bit of tongue in cheek as well for anyone listening. But who else then? So you've got the obvious one that would be Liverpool. Do you see this guy ending up anywhere else? So there's the Saudi links, or you mentioned a couple of teams before. Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, I in my opinion, I think this is set up for PSG, which is absolutely terrifying for not for the French league because they're already getting blitzed, but for the Champions League because look, Dembele is good, but he's not a striker of the ilk of an Isak. And they could pay him 300 grand a week. I don't believe Isak is willing to sell his soul to the point of like a John Duran who'll just go and get his bag in Saudi. I think Isak just wants 300 grand a week. And mate, there's clubs in Europe that pay that. What about Real Madrid? What about them? You mentioned them to me before. Could we shift Mbappe onto the left where he whinges that he wants to play because he wants a Giroud, and we'll bin Vinicius Junior off, who's not been great? Yeah. I don't know what you think. What do you think of Paris and Real Madrid? Any legs there for you? Or
Real Madrid, probably not, because they've got this obsession with Vinny, and they're in a bit of a mess, Real Madrid, to be fair. That's a whole different story. I won't go too deep into it. So I can't see them. PSG, that's frightening, man. If they go and get Isak, Jesus Christ. I know they say, you don't need to mess with the winning formula, but how could that be bad? You know what I mean? You are taking. I think what people need to understand about Isak, Alex, he's not just a good striker. This guy's a very good footballer.
Yeah,
he's a really good player.
Is.
So you
Great
put
shoot.
him in any team, he makes them better, and that's my standpoint on Isak. Now, here's the biggest worry of all of us. Obviously, I'm a blue, you're red. We really do not want this guy to go to Liverpool. Not just rivalry aside, it more to the point. You want a competitive league, right?
Yeah.
And currently, my team's name isn't even in the hat. I'll be just totally fucking straight with that. I have no problem saying that as a City fan. Arsenal have gone and signed Gyökeres, and then they announced it this week. They've took fucking years to do it, and then they get overshadowed by Isak making this little announcement, and Liverpool are like, yeah, we're still interested. And now we're all like, oh my God. You know what I mean? It's terrifying.
Yeah.
The prospects of him going there is seriously concerning, and I think they would wrap up at least the next 2 league titles, I'll be honest.
I think, I agree. I think there's more chance of him staying at Newcastle than going to Liverpool. In fact, I'm not putting Liverpool. I just can't see it. I know that Bayern are going to do their best to facilitate this. Nice one, lads, by offering apparently €75 million for fucking Luis Diaz. So shout out you lot. Thanks for that. I think it's just more the factor of Liverpool spending 400 million. My brain will not go there. But Christian, I couldn't imagine they'd go and get Ekitike and Wirtz. I couldn't imagine they'd go and get Wirtz.
I think with Newcastle as well, Alex, it's a bit of a strange one because obviously we're after Tino Livramento and they've vehemently denied he's never going to Manchester City. Like, they're not even entertaining it. So I'd be very shocked then if, so your standpoint with the right back that we were going to massively overpay for, yes, he's a good player, but you could have rebuilt from that and probably gone and got better anyway. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if someone comes in for Isak, that's completely changing the whole demographic of that club. Like, it is ripping everything up and you've got to go again. You're going to have to reinvest. You could make it work, but it's a huge risk. I'd be shocked if Newcastle bow down to the hierarchy at this time in their development. It wouldn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, also, the flip side of what I've just said, I've just said that I think there's more chance he'll stay at Newcastle than go to Liverpool. The concern I'd have, and I'd love to get any Newcastle fans' opinion if you're watching this video, hit us up in the comments what you think about this. The concern is the amount of reports that Newcastle are looking at other strikers this early. That says to me they are either
I agree.
They are either seriously looking at this internally that he's gone, or he's got one. Well, has he got 1 foot out the door or 2? Because if you're looking at Benjamin Sesko already, you've said this before, and you're right. Are you doing the classic? Let's go and get Sesko now, so we don't have our pants down because they know we've got 150 million for Isak. Buy before you sell one, and that worries me. Because
let's remember, Alex, they were already in for Ekitike as well,
and they were in for Ekitike. And you're looking at that thinking, I mean, did they just keep this issue with Isak under wraps? And that's where because you said it perfectly, but there was no reports of it, unless they hushed it completely. And you said, is Ekitike coming in because of Isak's going? And I was like, reports would have leaked. We would have known that. Mate, I completely forgot about that. I think going back in my head, I think you were right, to be honest.
It looks that way, which is it's not a good prospect. And I think, look, Isak at this time, if I get from his point of view, no disrespect to Newcastle, I hope they do keep him, and I hope they go on with him. But I do get it from his point of view. Look, where I worry is that he's looking around the league, and he's like, it was like when we needed a striker. We had all the missing pieces to the puzzle, but we missed that one, and Haaland was out there, and it was almost like we were made for each other, and it frightens me because is Liverpool and Isak the exact same situation, and I think it is, because is he the missing piece to their puzzle? Ekitike, I was never worried about. This one, I am. And I think Newcastle can't do this. I really don't think they can afford to sell. I'd just like to say, I mean, when we were getting going and we started, obviously we had the ownership takeover and we were starting to buy players. So say when we bought David Silva, for instance, and we saw what level he was at, and we were like, Jesus, this guy's incredible. If Real Madrid had come in for him and we'd have sold him, now, would we have ever been able to go on to be the team we did eventually become? They are huge moments. If you can keep hold of them, key players and build around them, Alex, you can possibly build a dynasty. And that's how important this is. I think they've got to throw down the gauntlet. I think they've got to keep this guy at all costs. If you have to pay him 350 grand a week even, you're going to have to go and do it. I don't think you're in a position to go and sell him. Because what is that saying? That's the takeover meant nothing then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What's it all for if the big boys come knocking and you sell your best player? Well, that's Newcastle 5-6 years ago. So what's the point?
After a very good season, trophy and a Champions League qualification. You're right, mate. I think you made some really good points there. Just before we wrap up, just want to float a little idea across to you, which we've semi-touched on. So you've got... do you think that Man United playing one game a week with Cunha, Isak and Mbeumo can win the league?
Oh my God, I can't believe you've dragged me here. You've dragged me to this dodgy path.
You know the Dumb and Dumber scene at the end where Lloyd's asking Mary Swanson if he's got a chance of going out with her? I'm a little bit like that. And you know when I'm like asking Newcastle fans like, what are the odds Isak could come? And they go, 1 in a million. So you're saying there's a chance?
Mate, it's exactly that.
Mate, if I shut my eyes, I can see Cunha, Isak and Mbeumo and one game a week.
It'd just be mad though, wouldn't it? Because the score lines would be like rugby, Alex, because you'd still have Onana in net. So you'd be winning games like 9-8 or something.
Imagine the amount of goals if we pulled this off. I mean, look, Cunha and Mbeumo is a good goal return anyway. But imagine if we did. We went from Garnacho, Hoyland and fucking Xerxes, right, to Cunha, 16 Prem goals, and Mbeumo, 20, Isak, 23. Mate, we'd be bringing in 60 goals in the summer.
It'd be like your Galacticos.
Yeah. Mate,
no, man, listen, if you think as though United a few years ago would have actually been in for him. They wouldn't have cared about it. They just keep lumping it on credit cards. They'd have gone and done summer. However, it's kind of reached, obviously, Jim's come in and he's basically almost like your financial advisor that's like, right, we can't have any more loans. The bank has run dry. We know, look, it's impossible, but mate, that would be a madness. And this is the thing, though. Unfortunately, there's so many teams that he does sue. Chelsea, I'm shocked at, really, because whenever any player is available anywhere, they are in for him. A top-class one comes available, and they're like, no, we'll sit this one out, lads. They just make no sense. By the way, he has had a good start, João Pedro, so I do get it, but still, Isak, man, you move on that boy every single day of the week. It's as simple as that.
If Isak played for Brighton, they'd be all over it. There's 180.
God, I know.
Keep the change.
Name the price. 19-year contracts.
At what point do Chelsea just go and buy Brighton's scouts? At what point? It's just ridiculous.
You know how they sold the women's team? Why don't they just buy Brighton? You know, like when Barcelona have Barcelona 2 or whatever it is. And they should just do that. Chelsea 2 and it's just fucking Brighton and they bought them out.
You just keep operating exactly as you are, lads. Just want
Alex, the joke is... The joke is they'd go and do that by Brighton and they'd still be bloody better than them. They'd call them Chelsea 2 and they'd finish above them.
They would, I know. That centre mid they got from Uruguay is fucking unbelievable. Yeah, man. Okay. Well, look, if there's any Newcastle fans watching, hope you're... I actually hope it goes the Rooney way in 2000 and... Wow. I need you to help me out here, Christian. 2011, maybe. When Rooney, it was all turmoil, and then 2 days later they ironed it out. Rooney signed the big deal, and we kept him for his prime. So I hope it goes in that route where it seems dead in the water. It looks like Liverpool are going to get him, and you sort it out, pay the guy his money.
That's it. Was after, you know, the Rooney one, was that after we'd won the league then? Is that why he was booting off so much? Or was it the year? I think it was just before we'd won it, because he could see the pendulum swinging.
Yeah.
But
I think it was it was...
Because I don't think we'd have gone for him with Aguero, would we?
Rooney was upset after 2010 because Sir Ronaldo left and he carried us to as far as he could, and we came second to Chelsea and we lost to Bayern.
That's it. It was that. Yeah, it was that summer.
And Rooney tore ankle ligaments, played through him, and it fucked his whole World Cup up in the summer.
Yeah.
And I think he came back and was like, "Are you seriously not signing anyone for this season?" Like, this was you're right. 2010, you did win it Sorry. Oh, no. Yes, so we did actually win it when he stayed. And then it was the 2012, you won it in the last minute.
11th to 12, we won it.
So I think Rooney re-upped and we managed to win it that year. Maybe a bit of
I'm just thinking that Aguero-Rooney partnership, that you talk about 4-4-2, would there ever been anything better than that? Jesus.
Well, mate, Aguero
we still had Tevez at the time. Christ. We had the hardest working front three in world football, but anyway, look, we can dream from ones from the past. But yeah, mate, it's an interesting one. Let's see how this one develops. We might have to jump back on here and talk about this. We really don't know what direction this is headed in. We've not heard Newcastle's stance on this. Let's just hope they play bold and they don't do business here because, well, unless it's with my club, of course, then name your fucking price, lads.
You're hoping that we're doing a video in a week's time going, can City win the league with 4-4-2? And I hope we're doing a video of, have United got the best front three in the league?
All I could think of is Mike Bassett with the 4-4-2. It'll be Isak and Haaland.
Brilliant.
Oh man, I hope so.
Nah, yeah, okay. Thanks for that, Christian. It was good fun. Hopefully, look, I have no idea what's gonna happen here. None of us really do. Any Newcastle fans, hit us up in the comments. Let us know your thoughts on this. Hopefully, you can get a deal done. Would you do the deal? Obviously, me and my brother think you should. Thank you for listening, everyone. Appreciate it. If you like the video, hit a like, subscribe. We'll catch us on the next one.